خط الرقعة الدارجة. خط الرقعة الدارجة. Okay? So, what this is going to be is, it's not going to be a calligraphy class per se, because a calligraphy class means that we're going to have calligraphy pens. And the difference between this and calligraphy is that a calligraphy pen is, of course, as you all know, it's chiseled, especially in Arabic. It's chiseled on an angle like this, right? So when you write a dot, it doesn't produce a circle, it produces a square, okay? And very importantly, this square is going to be the unit of measurement. It's going to be the unit of measurement in khat. Now, what is the unit of measurement? A unit of measurement is going to be the way we decide how large a letter is going to be. Okay? All this is going to make sense, inshallah, as soon as we get into the examples. But all I want us to have now is just a brief overview of what these actually mean, how to understand this better. Okay? And what we're going to be using today is most likely going to be just a sort of pointy nib, whether you're using a roller ball or, as I'm using, a gel pen. It's just going to be round tipped. So the dot that we produce is going to be circular, right? And this is for everyday handwriting. This is for everyday handwriting. And that's why this class was titled Handwriting 101 and not Calligraphy 101. Because Calligraphy 101, we'd need, Calligraphy 101, we'd need special tools. We'd need an inkwell, we need all sorts of stuff. We don't have that, and of course we need tables, most importantly. But this, the whole purpose of this is to improve our normal Arabic handwriting. Our normal Arabic handwriting, okay? طيب. Of course, the sister side, if you guys have any questions, you can send them on the Telegram group, and we can deal with that inshallah over there. The Darul Ummah Summer Telegram group. Yeah. Basically, we can just start. We can just start a thread over here. Type. Yeah. Okay. Where are we? Yeah. So this is going to be for our daily handwriting. Of course, Arabic handwriting has lots of different fonts, just like in English. We have lots of different fonts. The font that we're focusing on today is called Khat al-Ruq'ah. Khat al-Ruq'ah with a dhamma on top of the ra. And this is a font that develops in the Ottoman era, very late in the Ottoman era. So of course you'll find rarely, if any, old manuscripts that were written with this font. And you're definitely not going to find any early manuscripts written in this font. You know, early as in early in the Islamic period. And this font was mainly used for communication between the Diwan and any of the other government circles. So any government document that needed to be sent from the Sultan, from the Khalifa to anyone, it would usually be written in this or in a sister font that's called Diwani. It's called Diwani, or as the Turks would say, Divani, with a V instead of a waw. Anyways, so we have these two. They're both coming from a similar family. Of course, Diwani is not something that's written with normal pens. Again, rarely, if ever, written with normal pens. That is specifically designed to be written with a chiseled pen. Ruq'ah was also designed to be written with a chiseled pen because that was just the nature of pens that they had. Just like in the English language, we use pointed nibs because that is what works with the English language. That is what works with Latin letters. Even Latin letters, they didn't used to be written with a chiseled pen, with a pointed nib all the time. You'll find many Latin works are written with a chiseled nib that's like this. But it's not on an angle. So for Arabic, we'd have it cut to an angle, but in Latin, it won't be cut to an angle, it'll just be square. Any sort of Gothic script will be written in something like this. So obviously the pointy nib comes later on when you have cursive handwriting introduced and stuff like that. That's when you would use a pointy nib. Okay. So when we're looking at Khatt Ruq'ah Darja, which we're going to be doing today, treat it as if treat it the same way you treat cursive. It's something that's used for daily handwriting, something that speeds up your writing, something that beautifies your writing. It just makes note taking much clearer. Just as an example of some notes, for example, these are the notes that I take, for example, from anything that I'm doing. So again, it just arranges it quite well. One thing to note though with Khatt Ruq'ah is that it is an inherently small text. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakumullah khair. It is an inherently small text. Okay. Now the way you deal with small texts is not going to be, the way you deal with small text is not going to be elongating the letters or making them larger. Rather, it's going to be either using a larger pen or increasing everything proportionally. Now, what this means, we'll also discover, inshallah, once we get into the unit of measurement, okay? But now we're just trying to take a brief overview of what we're going to be doing. So, again, Khatt Ruq'ah, the one we're learning today, it is essentially the cursive of the Arabic language. It's to help you with your notes, it's to speed up your writing, and it's to beautify your writing at the same time. Right. Let's get into the unit of measurement, the nuqta that we took over here. So, historically, a nuqta is going to be used as a unit of measurement of a letter that is written with a chiseled pen. So, let's say I have the letter alif. This is how it would be written in Ruq'ah had I written it with a chiseled pen. So the unit of measurement would work this way. You'd put a line on top, you'd put a line on the bottom of the letter, and this letter would be exactly 3 dots long. That is the unit of measurement. Okay? So with a chiseled pen, I wouldn't have to draw it. You'd write it, and then you'd say 1, 2, 3. Then you'd have your letter. So if someone wrote an alif that stretched 4, this would be too long. This would be too long. Okay? Now, of course, if you learned calligraphy first, then moved on to just writing with a pointy pen, all of this comes intuitively. All of this comes intuitively because you're used to the units of measurement. However, with a pointy pen, you can't take those units of measurement. So I can't put 1, 2, 3, and then write an alif. It's not going to translate the same. You can get close, but it's not going to translate the same. So what we're going to be doing, inshallah, is 2 things. And those are the 2 things that we need most in handwriting. And in any visual art, you're going to need these 2 things. The first thing you're going to need is a lot of what they call in Arabic, تغذية بصرية. Now what's تغذية بصرية? تغذية بصرية is a lot of input. You have to have a lot of input. So just like, for example, in Quran, when someone wants to read beautifully, what does he do? He listens to beautiful recitations. If you listen to beautiful recitation, you will read beautifully. If you listen to good pronunciation, you will read with good pronunciation. That's how it works. Similarly in Khatt, if you look at good writing, you will write good writing. If you're only used to looking at your own writing, you're going to write just like you do. Okay? There's never going to be any improvement. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get our eyes used to the proportions of the letters. Okay? And inshallah, throughout this course, as we move on, inshallah, you guys will get used to a lot of this. So that's the first thing. The second thing, and obviously this is the most boring part of any sort of branch of knowledge, is practice. There is no shortcut, there's no way around this. The more you practice, the more fluid your hand is going to become, and the more fluid your writing is going to become. The less you practice, the less it's going to happen. Tamam? So what this means is that, let's say you have a certain writing style in Arabic right now, and now you're going to have to change it because of this. In your transition period, you're going to become very slow. and then you'll slowly pick up speed. But if whilst you're very slow, you lose passion, you lose the drive, and you're like, you know what, it's too slow, I need to get work done, then that is going to negatively impact the way your handwriting moves on from there. Okay, so we need these two things. First of all, we need to have lots of eye candy, in terms of good handwriting, and we need to have a lot of practice. What I would recommend is a page a day. That for me is the minimum. You should never ever go below practicing a page a day of Arabic handwriting. Yes, go ahead.
Does this page a day need to be any or could it just be perhaps a journal entry?
So, for the first few months, your page a day is actually going to be copying the writing of someone else. So you're going to have something to copy out of, and you just copy it and you copy it and you copy it until your handwriting becomes like it. That's how this works, okay? So practice, inshallah, practice is going to have two parts of it, right? First is just copying, and the second is, just creating your own, basically freestyling, right? But this copying bit, the more you copy, the better your handwriting is going to become. Okay, the more you copy, the better your handwriting is going to become, especially in the earlier years. Tell me.
Straight, so you can see it nicely.
Oh, like this.
Everyone's like that now?
No, it's not move my chair, because if I come here, I cover the camera as well. One second. Maybe this will work even better. Quite cool, eh? I never knew we could do this. There we go. Amazing stuff. بس خلاص خلاص إبراهيم. Okay. It's actually incredible. Is this the most we can zoom in? You can zoom in more. Just a bit more. We do need a bit more zoomed in. طيب, okay. So, any questions so far? Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what the two types of
No, I wouldn't say so. I would say that just because one of them is written with a chiseled pen and one isn't.
But when you read, see, like you said, like the measurements,
Yeah.
the space. So when you just reading it, like when you write, like.
So even so, when I've written these, for example, yeah, go ahead. This one. So even when I've written this, for example, see right here, the kha, right? See, I've written kha and ta over here. So actually, if I were to measure my kha, it would be almost spot on as a measurement. But that's because I've written this in using the calligraphy pen for like over a decade. So I can do that.
What I'm trying to is like, see, obviously when you write, there's going to be different. They're going to be like the measurements are put in place. Like, does it change the translations or does it change any kind of meaning when you read it?
No, not at all.
Obviously,
Not at all.
read it as
Not at all. No, it's not going to change anything in terms of the meaning. In Ruq'ah, there is only one letter that's slightly funny. We'll get to it inshallah, which is the letter Sin. because the letter Sin in Ruq'ah has two shapes. So Sin can either be written like this, or it can be written like this. So this makes sense in the beginning of a word. But for example, if I write as-salamu, I can do it like this, as-salam, or I can do this. So see, it's just stretched. So when you just have a stretch in Ruq'ah, it depends on like one extra dot. Is it a Sin, or is it just a normal stretch between two letters? Do you get what I'm saying? So for example, see between the lam and the Sin, you have a small stretch, right? But imagine if this was just slightly longer. Then it could be two Sins. So I could have a Sin over here, and then I have another Sin over here, right? So that's the only tricky letter in terms of spacing and how the measurements may impact a word. But nothing other than that. We have nothing else on Ruq'ah. That would be. Yeah, same thing would apply to Sheen. But again, a Sheen is simpler because you have the three dots. You have the three dots. Like, okay. So a couple of things with Khatt al-Ruq'ah. The way inshallah this always works is the way any handwriting class is going to work is there's going to be a lot of practice, even in class. Okay. So what we're going to do inshallah is we're going to take the alphabet, and then you guys can try to emulate it as best as you can, and then inshallah we'll have a correction session. So let's say half an hour of corrections, then you guys practice for half an hour corrections, you guys practice for half an hour, and that's the most productive way of doing it. And of course, whilst you're being corrected, someone else is practicing, you go sit back for your practice, then he'll correct. So everyone's moving. Inshallah, it's quite dynamic. So it should be fine. طيب. So let's begin. First of all, a few key rules about Ruq'ah. In calligraphy generally, we don't have any 100% straight lines. Meaning, an alif is not going to be 100% straight down like this. There's always going to be some sort of leaning, either to this direction or to this direction. Okay? So if you actually see over here in my Ruq'ah alif, if you draw a strictly straight line on both sides, you'll see that it has a little gap here and a little gap here. So it's slightly tilted. So on the line, my alif is not sitting straight like this. It's sitting at a slight angle. See? At a slight angle. And in Arabic, is that angle going to fall on the right side or on the left side? In Arabic. Which side will it fall on? Right, because you're writing from right to left. Just like in English, for example. In English, if I write an L in cursive, I'm not going to write an L like this. It's written like this, right? See, it's falling to that side. If this were a straight line, see, it's falling to that side. It's falling to the left side. Similarly, in Arabic, it's going to fall on the right side. So if I'm writing an alif, if it were to go on an angle, it needs to go on that side. Okay? Now, this is very, very important because the natural flow of Arabic is from right to left. So because you're used to English handwriting, if your Arabic is all leaning left side, if it's all leaning to the right side, then it's going to be problematic. So it needs to be falling on this side, just with the flow of the writing itself. طيب? Inshallah, we'll see more practical examples when we start writing. طيب. So that's number one. We don't want to have any straight lines, either vertically or horizontally. So we don't want to write any ba like this. This is a staple. This is not a ba. Okay? Even in, for example, nasakh, for example, ba is never written like this. You'll notice it's written like this. Do you see how beautiful it is? See? You have a small dot here, you have a small space down here, it's concave in the middle. See, it's always going to be flowing like that, okay? There's not going to be any sort of straight 100% 90-degree angles. That just doesn't exist. Right? Now in practice, it may happen, it's fine, it'll all smooth out later. Yeah.
So as it doesn't exist, but say if you're doing like expressive calligraphy writing, does it like when you read it, does it change or you know?
No, so there's some forms of calligraphy that do have it, like Kufi, for example. Kufic scripts have 90-degree angles. Actually, they're written with you write them with a scale. That's how you write them. But none of these flowy fonts, none of them have this. None of them have this. So yeah, if a person were to write a ba, and suddenly in the middle of the ba they just give me a fully straight line, and then they go back, yeah, you can see this is standing out. It's not organic. It's not flowing. Okay. And by the way, this is called nasakh. So we have a couple of fonts. We can talk about the fonts, right? Just a bit. So we have Ruq'ah, obviously, which is the one that we're going to be doing today. So this is what it would look like, Ruq'ah, right? Then we said we have Diwani, but again, Diwani is something that's never written with a pointy pen, but it would look something like this. Again, very ornamented, very decorated font. See, this would be Diwani. Then we'd have Nasakh. Now, Nasakh is the one that everyone over here should be familiar with because it is the one that the Quran is written in, right? Nasakh. Nasakh. See? Nasakh. And then you have Thirth, and then you have many others. You'll notice that I didn't put any tashkil over here. There's no diacritics over here, right? I didn't say Ruq'ah and put any of this. I didn't say Diwani and put any of this. Because these two fonts, because of their speedy nature, they're actually written without any tashkil. And Nasakh, despite its speedy nature, is always written with tashkil. So again, just for demonstration, see? Almost no tashkil whatsoever. Only where it's extremely necessary, you put it. Like say radiyallahu an, for example. You put just shadda on lafz al-jalala. Like say for example, آمنة من لحوق الاختلال في الحال والمآل. So this would be al-mal, but I put just a small sign for the med, just because we need it. Otherwise we wouldn't put it. So the fact is that Ruq'ah and Diwani are fonts that are not going to have a lot of tashkil in them, if any at all. Go on. Yeah, inshallah, we want everyone to write like that, or better, inshallah. Right. Okay, so that's a couple of things we need to know about Ruq'ah. Right. So we're going to start with the alphabet now, inshallah, and then I'm going to leave the alphabet for you guys to copy off the screen. And then inshallah everyone can just start bringing their papers one by one, and we'll correct them all over here so everyone can learn from each other's mistakes. Okay? Right.
You mentioned that there's two key rules, but you didn't get onto the second one. The first one was no 100% straight lines, but you didn't mention the second.
I actually forgot. Once again, so we said no 100% straight lines. SubhanAllah, I actually forgot. There was something in my mind. Right. Oh yeah, perhaps it was. Oh yes, very very important. We don't mix fonts. Fonts don't mix. Okay, so that's the second rule, that fonts don't mix. So I can't. Let's say for example, I'm used to writing a bit in Nasakh. I can't mix it with my Ruq'ah. Okay, it just doesn't work. It's going to look like a horse that has like the head of a horse and the rest of his body is the body of a cow. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Okay? And you'll see, inshallah, you'll see that it wouldn't make sense. Right. So, going to our alphabet. So we're going to write the alphabet, inshallah, and then if anyone has any questions on any letter, we'll explain it before we move on to your practice. طيب. So alif, again, it's just going to be a straight line. And in ruq'ah, it's very important, the alif is not going to fully touch the line. In fact, it's going to stay above it. Okay? So, guys, just pay attention over here. No, you don't need to write the alif. Just focus on how I'm writing it, then you can do it later on. Okay? So, this is called a baseline. Let's put it B, right? This is called a baseline. In ruq'ah, this is the only line that matters. There's nothing else you need to care about. In nasakh, you're going to have a baseline, and then you're going to have a line underneath, and then you're going to have a line on top. You have 3 lines. But in ruq'ah, we only have 1 line, and that is the baseline. طيب? The second letter is the ba. Okay? So, how do we write this? Look again. I'm going to write it in large. So, 1. Then you'll notice we're going down to the line. See, this is the line. We're going down towards it. And then we're going back up. So as soon as we touch the line, we're just going to take a slight curve upstairs and go back. Okay? So again, no sharp angles. We're not writing, it's not a ball, and it's not sharp either. Both of these are wrong. Okay? It's smooth, it's rounded off. Okay? Now ba would also be ta, would also be tha. And this is also one of the best things about ruq'ah, is you don't put 2 individual dots. If it's 2 dots, it's a line. If it's 3 dots, it's a, what is that? Hmm? So it essentially has 3 points. 1, 2, 3, which correspond to the 3 dots. Okay? So same thing when we come to sheen, for example, we're just going to put the same 3 dots. Tamam? طيب. Now with jim, this is going to be slightly trickier. So I'm just going to write it in small first, and then we're going to explain it in large. And you'll notice now that jim is a letter that's going underneath the baseline. So this is the first letter that's going to go underneath the baseline. There's going to be 4 letters that go underneath the baseline. We're going through them one by one, but this is the first letter that's going to go underneath the baseline. Again, we said that we don't mix fonts, right? Because in nasakh, many letters go under baseline. Ra, waw, zay, sin, sheen, all of those go under baseline. In ruq'ah, again, the point of ruq'ah is that it's neat, that it's quick. We don't have lots of stuff going under the baseline. It's all on one line, and then you can quickly jump to the next one. طيب? So this is of course going to be jim, ha, and kha. They're all going to take the same thing. We just change the dots. طيب. So how is this written? We start with this. So we go upwards. We go upwards. طيب. And then you have number 2. See? You go, and at the end, you give it a slight curve. An ever so slight curve. Okay? And then this slight curve, it's like you're giving yourself a lip to continue. See? So you put your pen exactly where you stopped, and you continue downwards. When you reach underneath the baseline, you're going to go here, and that is your jim or kha. Okay? Now notice a few things. When we turn back here, we try to keep it as straight as possible. Meaning, we don't want this to turn into one of these situations. See? We don't want it to curl back up. And we definitely don't want it to curl back in. Okay? We just want it to just let it go on that side. طيب? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 parts. Now, you guys will notice that I'm writing very slowly. And the reality is, if you want your handwriting to be nice, you will need to write a bit slower. That's just a fact. If I write fast, my handwriting is going to become terrible. And if I write a bit slower, it's going to become very nice. طيب? So you have to find a good compromise between, your speed and the neatness, let's say, of your handwriting. And once you get to a level of proficiency, you will still be able to write slightly faster than everyone else and maintain a good level of, legibility and clarity and even a bit of beauty in your handwriting. طيب? So this is Jim. Any questions on Jim before we move on? Because I know Jim is a very tricky one. طيب. Then we have Dal. Dal is essentially going to be the first part of the ba. So we're just going to go down and to the side. That's it. That's Dal and Dal. They're both going to be the same thing. طيب. Ra and Ruq'ah, easiest thing in the world. So you're going to have a small downwards, and then you just flick your pen. Now, I flick my pen. You guys don't flick your pen. Okay? Because if you guys flick your pen, you're leaving it to chance. Like, maybe it's going to flick in the right direction, maybe it's going to flick as long as I need to. Okay? So we end up with this situation. Now, we don't want this. Okay? So we hold the pen down a bit, and then we control it to the end. You control it to the end. طيب? That's all Ra and Za is. It's literally just a slit on the paper. طيب? Then we get to Sin. Now Sin 1, 2, and 3. طيب. Now this here is called, in Arabic they call it a ka'sa, essentially a cup. Right? This is going to be one of the most important parts of any font you study. If you study Nasr, it's going to be the most important thing. Thuluth, most important thing. Diwani, most important thing. Ruq'ah, same thing. It's going to be the most important thing because it's going to repeat itself everywhere. طيب? So it's very important for us to understand what this is. What this basically is we go down once, we go down, and then imagine an imaginary line here. See? Imagine this blurry line over here, right? Where you're going to go down towards the line, touch it, and then you're going to go back upwards, and then you're just going to give it a small ending here. So underneath the line is your cup. This is your cup. طيب? On top is just to connect it to whatever comes before it, and on the end it's just the end flick. Go on.
You mentioned about the two forms of sin. Can you use the second?
It's coming, it's coming, yeah. It's coming. So, the second form of Sin is going to be, we start from down, we stretch it, then again, 1, 2, 3. Same thing, it's the cup. Okay? So this is going to be Sin. Sheen is going to be the same for both. طيب? Okay, you guys can see it all. طيب. Then over here we have, let's say, Sad and Dad. Or, if you want to be really fancy with your Dad, you can do this. So what happens here is, this is going to be another technique, inshallah, that we'll learn in Ruq'ah, which is when a letter has some dots and you don't want to write them. You don't have time to write them. So you just stick them at the end. And you'll see this in Qaf as well. Okay? So this is a dot. And you don't need to add any dot. Because this here indicates that this is a letter that has a dot. Without it, it's going to be a sad. With this bit at the end, it's going to be a dad. Okay? طيب. And then we have ta. Once again, we go up, we turn, and we go down towards the line. And then we add an alif, basically. See the alif? You just transfer the alif all the way here to the ta. And the ta is going to be the same thing. طيب. I think we're going to stop here and give you guys a chance to practice this before we move on. طيب. Any questions before we start? Go on.
Does the alif piece need to touch the...
No, it does not touch it. It does not touch it. See? You'll see there's a small space. It does not touch it. Go on.
With the gene, how the top is going to be a bit like a loop, is meant to kind of connect.
Yeah, it's going to connect here. See? It's going to be connecting right here. It's going to connect right here. Yep. طيب, okay. يلا بسم الله. You guys can write your alif to dha and start showing me your papers. Also, yeah, you guys can't do this. I can do this. When you write your ba, ta, and tha, write them separately. Ba, ta, and tha. And jim, ha, and kha, write them separately. Jim, ha, and kha. So you can get as much practice in as you want. Yalla, bismillah. Yeah, do both. Do a scene and a sheen in the first shape, and a sheen and a scene and a sheen in the second shape. So this will be the first shape, second shape. Yeah, it just depends on like. It just depends on it. I'm not sure how you're feeling of it. Wait. So for the sisters who are following with us, so inshallah we're going to also have corrections on your papers, but I think a good practical way to do it is inshallah we'll correct some of the alphabet over here first, and once we get into writing the sentences, because there's going to be lots of common mistakes. Once we get into writing the sentences, then inshallah we can bring your papers over and we can correct the long sentences that you guys write. Okay? Even for the brothers that are here, we're not going to correct everyone's letters one by one. We're going to take one or two select papers. We'll talk about the common mistakes and everyone can correct them together, inshallah. Come on, guys. I need someone paper. I need someone's paper. Go on. Yalla, bismillah. Bring your paper. Quick, quick.
Should I have a look at mine?
Hmm? That's fine, inshallah. I'll have a look at yours as well. Give me yours as well. Give me yours as well.
No, I can't read Arabic.
Okay, that's fine. Don't worry. No, Shaykh, but this is not what we did, Shaykh. This is it's a different font. طيب, it's a different font. It's right. We'll talk about it. طيب. Okay. So, we have a specimen over here. Okay. So no. So let's go through this constructively. Okay. طيب. We have alif. Okay. The alif seems fine. First ba seems fine. Okay. So see what happened to ta over here. So the ta over here, what we have is that it's concave on the inside. See? It's concave on the inside. When again, ba and ruq'ah, see? One, downwards, up. Okay? Downwards. So obviously you don't want your bat to be tilted like this, but there is a definite downwards curve in ruq'ah. Okay? طيب. Regarding the jim. So when we said there's a loop, we didn't mean that we have this prominent loop. But we mean that the two parts are going to meet at some point. Okay? So this would be wrong, this would be correct. Make sense? Doesn't make sense. Okay. طيب. The second is, when we go down, what do we say? We said we want to have a turn. Essentially, the jim has a belly, but we go this way. But what happened here is we went downwards. We don't want that. طيب. This is the closest one to being, a good one. But again, it's still small. Dal, obviously very nice. Dal, too straight. طيب. Ra and zay, that's fine. Okay, so with sin, if you guys notice, in ruq'ah, we don't put deep grooves. This is nasakh. In ruq'ah, we don't put deep grooves. In ruq'ah, guys, pay attention. Muhammad, Yahya. See, in ruq'ah, we don't put deep grooves. In ruq'ah, we're just going like this. See? It's just like teeth. See? 1, 2. That's it. Tamam? Make sense? So we don't have deep grooves in ruq'ah. طيب. Regarding the scene, see, do you see how long your alif is? Your scene should be as long as your alif. Okay? So when you stretch it, you need to stretch it essentially as long as an alif, and then you're going to go 1, and then the cup, then 2. If you guys see, I keep breaking down every letter into bits, because once again, now we're learning. We're not writing now. When I'm writing, I don't write in bits usually. I don't write in bits. Okay, and at some point you have to live with a bit of writing with bits, brother. You have to live with it. Like in nasakh, when I write a ra in nasakh, I have to do this. I never do this, because look at the difference. Look at the difference in the two ras. Tamam? So anyways, so you need to get used to writing in bits a bit. Tamam? Sin is very small, shin is very small, sad is very small, dad is very small. And also, we said baseline, right? How is it going under the baseline? It's not supposed to go under the baseline. It stays on top of the baseline. All the letters we took are above the baseline except the jim. It's the only one that goes below. Okay? Here you go. Good attempt. I don't grade stuff. I've been doing calligraphy since 2012, and that is the single most asked question. How much would you grade my handwriting from 1 to 10? And we don't grade because it's soul crushing. Okay.
I can't read. I just wrote off the phone.
Okay, no, but it's fine. Even if you can't read Arabic, you don't have to read Arabic. You just need to. You,
Alphabets
no. But you just need to copy these letters. Alif, ba, ta, tha, jim, jim, ha, kha, dal and dhal, ra and zay, sin and sheen again, sad and dad, dad, ta and dha. That's all you need to do. تمام? But once again, this is none of this is going to be ruq'ah. Ruq'ah is going to be like this. The ba is going to be much smoother, much smaller. Dal, see, dal and ruq'ah is it's very easy. It's actually it's very cute. طيب, ra, sin again, no deep grooves. Sheen, صاد, طاء. Also, I notice many people they write their طاء stick down. No, write the down first. Write the lower part, then put the stick on top. Okay, here you go, Shaykh. Okay, anyone else has something to correct? Yeah, come, bring it. Okay. طيب. Okay, this is a good one. طيب. Alif, ba, ta, tha. Okay, that's fine. Too tilted, way too tilted. So the fineness again, your skill as someone who has good handwriting is to not make it obvious, right? So if your letters all have a slight angle, that's very artistic. But if everyone can see the angle, then it's not artistic anymore. Now it's obvious. Okay? So this is a bit too large of a gap. Yeah? So when we write ba, yes, we want it to have a gap, but we don't want to have a huge gap. طيب. Jim, this is actually quite nice in terms of its shape, but not in terms of the size. So if you notice, the head of your jim is very large, and we want it to be finer. See the difference? So it's a very close shape, but the head of your jim is very large. And dal, it's very easy for this to slip into a nasakh dal. You see, we don't want to write a dal like this, like nasakh. No. We want to write it closer to a ba. Okay? Ra, that's fine, but just keep it on the line. Sin, yes, but we need to just continue our ka'sa. It's nice. The sheen, no, your sin was much nicer. Okay? Sheen is also good. طيب. So the beginning part of the cup, we don't want it to be this large. So this is nice, but we don't want to add a huge part over here. No. We just need something that aids in finishing the thing. Okay? Seen or sheen. طيب صاد ضاد طاء. Again, the stick. It's too angled. Too angled. طيب. صاد. Okay. صاد. See. See, this is صاد. Let me write it in large. See? Like this. Right? صاد. Then I have one. See, look, I left ample space here. Then go down, go back up. This is my صاد. And if I need to add a ضاد, I'm just going to add a da here. Okay? Here. طيب بسم الله شاجان معي. Very nice. طيب ألف باء تاء, that's fine. Jim, okay. So your jim started slightly higher, meaning that we need more of it on top of the line. We need more of your Jim on top of the line than under the line. A lot of it is under the line now. Yarhamukallah. Okay? So if you just start from here, it'll be fine, inshaAllah. So we have three different Jims. Part number one here. Part number one, which may be tricky for some. Okay? Which is this part. Right? This part. But this is all it is. So we don't want to make it long. The longer you go, the more you're going to mess up. Because this is just, subhanAllah, you're just preparing yourself for the next part. The next part is preparing itself for the third part. And they're all preparing to just curve outwards. That's what's happening with the Jim. Okay? So we don't want to make this too big. طيب? Dal, again, see, the top part of the dal is smaller than the lower part. This part of the dal is smaller than this part. This part is 2/3. This part is 1/3. Okay? Do you guys know what this is called? It's called the golden ratio. The golden ratio. طيب. Ra, Zay, Sin, Shin again. So Sin and Shin, what do we say? The problem here is the grooves are too deep. Okay? The grooves are too deep. طيب. Sin, again, you can allow it to stretch. And very importantly, it's not going like this. No. Why? Because this is actually seen with a ya. This turns into a scene with a ya. So if you want to write a scene alone, it has to come like this. Okay? This is a scene with a ya. This comes later on. طيب. Sad, again, just like we did for Salman. Sad, you need to have some space over here before you start your kasa. Okay? Just allow all the letters to breathe a bit. Dad, the other shape of dad is here, and of course ta going to go down. طيب. Here you go. Not a bad effort, very nice. طيب, okay. So no, we'll do the next one. طيب. So now let's continue with the rest of the alphabet. Okay? I think this should have answered a lot of the questions that even the sisters may have in their own letters. طيب. Okay. طيب. So we finished at ta. Let's start with ayn. Let's go with ayn. طيب. Now ayn, again, it's one of those letters where people are taught that, just do this. That's your ayn. That's okay. But again, we're trying to clean up our handwriting, right? So we're going to go 1, 2, and then we're going to borrow something from the Jim Han Kha. You see this part from the Jim Han Kha? We just borrowed it. So what's the difference between ours and this? The difference between ours and this is that, first of all, we went to this side, and then we went downwards at an angle. So what this gives us is this rounded corner. See this rounded corner here? It gives us a rounded corner, not a sharp corner. So two mistakes happen over here. Someone makes it all rounded. You say that's wrong. Or someone makes it all sharp, like Batman. Also wrong. Okay? We need to round them all off. طيب. Once again, 1, 2, then we go down, we have our body. طيب. This is going to be our ayn. And again, this is also a baseline. So, the ayn, 1, 2, and 3. Again, we have our baseline. طيب. And then we have a tha. Again, very fine, a triangle. طيب. And we're going to borrow this body from, where is this borrowed from? From the ba, ta, and tha, right? طيب. Then we get to the qaf. We go slightly higher. And this is the best qaf you can practice for ruq'ah. It's going to take a bit of while, but this is the best qaf you can practice for ruq'ah. Once again, I'm going to write it in very large right here. So exaggerated, of course, all of this is going to be colored in. Okay, sorry, all of this is going to be colored in. طيب. This is the baseline. Yeah? So what happens is, see, I'm going to go downwards at a slight angle. Then I'm going to go back up. And as soon as I equalize, see? So as soon as my cup is equalized, then from the top, I'll do this. That's it. See? So this letter is not going to be the same as this ka'sa. This one's rounded off. This one's not rounded off. This one has a bit of an edge to it. And that's fine. Okay, what if I want to write it rounded off? You can write it rounded off. You can write it rounded off. Just like you would do in a normal ka'sa. Okay? So both of these are going to be acceptable qafs, even though this one is the one that's predominantly used in ruq'ah. طيب, what if a person just wants to write a qaf like a normal human being? You know? He just wants to write a qaf like this. We say that's also acceptable. However, important caveat, this is not usually how it's written in ruq'ah because, as we said, this is a font for speedy writing. That's the whole point. So the whole point is that you're not going to have time to finish it and go and do your 2 dots. You're trying to skip. You're trying to move forward. So I'll actually show you guys here in Ruq'ah, for example. You'll see there's a lot of where's the qaf? Where's the qaf? Can anyone see a qaf anywhere? Okay, see. So I'll show you guys some examples of going very speed. Okay, see, look at the qaf. See? So this is itlaq al-qawl. See? Itlaq. You just write it quickly. Like when you get to awwal. See? Awwal. We're always taught that waw is a letter that doesn't connect with what comes after it. But in ruq'ah, because it's so quick, we have a rule that says, actually, you know what? Connect it. Just move on. See? Awwal. It's connected. Fi. Look at fi. Like you don't write a full ya. You just flick it back and you just move on. Okay? Because again, the whole point of this is to do it as quick as you can. Anyways, so back to fa. So we have ayn, we have fa, we have qaf. And then we have kaf. Now just pay a bit of attention to kaf, okay? So we start with an alif. And then we transition into, what's this? What's this part? A ba. But now look. Now we have 2 options. We can either add a small flick at the end, add the mini kaf, and call it a day. Or, once again, which is what most people would do in ruq'ah, because it is a speedy font, they would go ba, and that's your kaf. Now, this may look, really complicated and stuff, but just to break it down, so we go alif, ba, and then see, 1, 2, going down, and then this is like a dal. See this part? It's like a dal. It's like you wrote a dal. So you went up here, and you just wrote a dal. طيب. Once you get used to this, you'll never be able to write this again, ever. Okay? Because it's just so quick and also quite beautiful. طيب. Fa, qaf, kaf. We have 2 kafs, and then we have lam. Again, lam starts with alif. And then we have this part. What's this part? It's not a ba anymore. This is from, it's the ka'sa. It's the cup from the sheen and the sin and sheen. طيب. Then we have meme. Okay. Now with meme, I'm actually going to write meme large first, then I'm going to go small. Okay? So inshallah, this is what you guys will emulate. Meme, we start from down going upwards. And I'm saying this because most people I know do their meme like this. Right? Like this. We never do our meme like that. Meme always starts like this in every single font. طيب? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. This is our baseline. And then you'll just add this. This will be a meme. Okay, of course, this is all this will be covered. So when we write it down over here in smaller font, what's it going to look like? Okay? Very fine. Very fine. طيب, meme. And then noon, once again, noon is purely a ka'sa, by the way. Noon is just a ka'sa with a dot. That's all it is. It's the easiest one. An easier noon, once again, artistic, quick. The best one to do is, where is this taken from? Okay. طيب. Noon, and then what else do we have? What's after that? Ha. Okay. Ha is again very easy. It's just a rounded triangle. What does a rounded triangle mean? I have a triangle that I write like this. See, with a slight angle, as we said. Then what do? I just round it off. You round it off here, you round it off here, you round it off here. Then you end up with a rounded triangle. This is ha. Okay? Very simple. It's basically just a circle. طيب. And then we have waw, which is, see, the same top as the qaf, same top as the fa. The waw shares it. And then the bottom part is ra. Okay? So you're just like stitching letters up together. And then finally we have the ya. Okay, now the ya, this does trick some people. So this is the third letter, it's the second letter that goes underneath the line. Then we have the ya goes underneath the line, right? No, it doesn't. Not in Ruq'ah. Not in Ruq'ah. See? This is going to be ya. Let's do ya again. It's the baseline. We start up here. We go 1 downwards. Then watch this. 2. This is the part. See? So it's like a worm. It's like an S. See? You know? It's like a small S. And then you have its own distinctive cup. It's very distinctive to it. But again, you'll notice in all of these cups, they all have a bias towards one side. What does a bias mean? See, it's touching the line here, right? This is where it touches the line. Not in the middle. 1/3, 2/3. All the cups. See? Look at the kaf. 1/3, 2/3. Everything. All of them are going to be 1/3, 2/3. Even the ka'sa. See? 1/3, 2/3. Okay? If you want to do it 50-50, so half is you go halfway down and you touch, and then you go halfway up again, you can do that as well. But 1/3 and 2/3 is, of course, the preferred one. But any questions on ayn to ya? No. Yeah, they can go below the baseline. Actually, that's a very sharp question, because classically, in Ruq'ah and in Diwani, they don't put any dots in the ya actually, because they want to keep it as clean and as quick as possible. So if there's any ya, they just usually skip it. Go on.
Could you put dots in the like at the end, like how you do with qaf?
No, we don't put it in yet. We don't put it in yet. Okay?
There's only 3 shapes that go under the line.
Okay. Jim, Ain, and Mim go under the line. But we said there's four. The fourth one is a connection, which is Ha. So Ha in the beginning looks like this. And then Ha in the middle looks like this. So this Ha goes underneath the line. This is the fourth shape that goes under the line. But nothing in the single letters. We only have Jim, Ain, and Mim that go under the line. Everything else is above the line. And once again, that is why it looks neat. Because the only thing underneath the line is either dots or just straight lines. Okay? That's why it's quite neat. طيب. See, like يجمع بينها. See the ha? That's when the ha goes underneath the line. طيب, okay. يلا بسم الله. Let's finish our عين to ya. And maybe we can also get some of the sisters' papers with the full alphabet, inshallah. يلا بسم الله.
Writing it is well and good, but doesn't this make it like 10 times harder to read?
Oh no. The reading part of this is only going to be hard if you're not used to reading it. So once a person learns Ruq'ah script, it deciphers everything else. Like, see, let's talk about. Sorry, don't worry about it. I think it was طيب, okay, see. Let's read number 63, for example, okay? Just as a quick thing, see. So we have over here الحكمة معنى قام بالذات يتحقق به وقوع الأفعال وسطا بين الإفراط والتفريط. Right? No, but again, once you break it down, it becomes very easy to read. It becomes very easy to read. يلا بسم الله. خلص كتابة هات. Go on.
You're doing the part.
Yeah. Sorry. Here. We're doing عين to ya. You go on. Yeah.
With the flick.
Yeah.
And if you do the same thing on the fa, how do you differentiate between?
No, you don't do the same thing on the fa.
You can't do the
No, you don't do the same thing on the fa. Done? Let's see. By the way, you don't need to go hard on yourselves because we usually, when I used to study this, we used to take like 2 letters a week. So the fact that you guys are doing the entire thing like in 3 hours is already commendable. Go on. 2012, 2010, 2009. Right, man. Bismillah. Yalla, yalla. Done? Yalla. After the kaf, so we have 2 kafs. Kaf and kaf. So we have 2 shapes. We can write either shape. They're both kafs. This is lam, mim, noon. Another shape for noon. Ha, waw, ya. Sit down, sit down. You're proud of this. Yeah, sit down. Sit down. It's coming. It's coming. The battering is coming. طيب. Nope.
Okay.
Only 3. Everything else stays above. Hamid Yahya, I need to see yours. Because your nasakh is very good, so I want to see how the new font is working for you.
Did you do a class on this?
No. He just does it himself.
Well, because most people are used to this. It would be better to do a class on that first.
On nasakh?
Yeah, to solidify it, and that way we can have something to compare.
Why we could have. Actually, we could have. Now that you say it. But no, but the thing is, nasakh is not good for quick writing.
It's not, but more like class to have a foundation, and then
No.
that way we can differentiate.
Nah, you guys need to go slow. I learned from a teacher. Yeah, I used to live near my teacher. I used to live near my teacher. طيب. Okay, so we're going to start by some corrections. Okay, طيب. So first of all, whenever we practice, we can't practice so erratically, you know? It's like, it's all over the place. Now, there needs to be, because what's happening over here is, let's just throw stuff on the wall until one sticks. That's what's happening. Like, we've done 20 ayns, maybe one of them is right. Okay? No. You need to take it slow, you need to take it measured, okay? And you need to write the ayn properly, because all of these are wrong. What's wrong with all of these, Taib? What's wrong with all of these? That they're all rounded. And we don't want rounded. We said we want something with an angle. See? This is round. Round, round, round. This actually has an angle, but in the opposite direction. So we said we want to go here and then have a rounded angle here, right? But what we have here is we have the rounded angle up here, and then we're going down, right? So it's not the correct shape. طيب. Fa, this is again a nasakh fa. We don't want a nasakh fa. We want a fa from Ruq'ah. Okay? طيب. With qaf, as I told you guys before, with qaf, the flick, يعني, this is not the time for the flick. The flick is going to come, inshallah, later on with lots of practice. So when we write a qaf, like, you be measured till the end. Hold the pen till the end. Because when you flick, and you're a beginner, you can't control your flick. So you end up with, all sorts of stuff. It's never uniform. Like, this one's so small, this one's so large, right? So we don't want to do that either. Like, with the kaf, it's a nice kaf, but what's the problem here? We said we wanted to end up like a dal. But over here, you can see it's curving back upwards. See? We're writing it and then it's curving back upwards. We don't want that. طيب. Lam, again, this is a lam from nasakh. It's fine, it'll still work, but it's not what we're looking for. Mim, way too large. Way too large. Okay? Needs to be much smaller. Noon, again, noon from nasakh. We're trying to write ruq'ah here. This is actually very decent. Ha, again, ha from nasakh. See, the ha of ruq'ah, it starts and it ends at the same spot. طيب. Waws, sad, ya. طيب, okay. So the ya, actually, we have a very decent ya over here, right? But again, it's a fluke, because see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 random yas, and then we have one good ya. Okay? Again, we don't. That's the whole point. We don't want to practice so quickly, so erratically. طيب? This could only come from one person. Here you go. Here. امسك. يلا quick. طيب وراح جيب اوراقهم. ما ادري كلمهم. طيب we have some letters over here. طيب. So the alif just a bit large. Okay? Just make it smaller. As we said, ruq'ah in essence is going to be slightly smaller. Okay? Ba, again, it's fine, but again, these are very high bridges. Both of these. See, in ruq'ah, they're all like quite small. The three dots, they're fine, but they're too sharp. We don't want them to be sharp. We want them to be like smooth, flowy. Like if I were to write them very large here, they would look like this. Right? We don't want them to look like this. طيب. Jim, as we said before, the problem was, number one is very good with you, but the second part is still very large. Make it smaller. Bring it all in close. Right? It's the Jim. It's your baseline. Yeah? That would be much nicer. Dal, nice, but very large. Ra, that's fine. Sin, okay, see, the problem now is that we said we don't want deep grooves, right?
Yeah.
Now we don't have any grooves. See? See, we don't have any grooves. Right here. So we need to have grooves. How do we get grooves? If you go on an angle. Because if you go straight on the line, yeah, obviously you can't get any grooves because you're straight on a line. But if you go at an angle, see? 1, 2, see? Now you get your grooves. طيب? Does it make sense? Okay. Scene, once again, when we go up with the scene over here, we don't need to have any sort of sliding, any sort of zigzag whatsoever. We're just going to go in a straight line as long as our alif. Then we add a ka'sa to it. That's all it is. Tamam? Sad, again, give it some space. Right here, see? Yeah. Just like, just like your eye before your nose. You need some space right here in the middle. It's the same thing. طيب. Ta, actually, decent ta. Very decent ta. Okay. Very decent ta. طيب. Ain, okay. So, Ain. So the problem here is that look at the way we're starting. We're starting. See, we're putting the pen on the paper, and we're going like this. Whereas, what do we say? We want to put the pen on the paper and go up, and then you go down. See, up, then you go down, and then you bring the rest of the ain. Okay?
Very slightly and then.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh? طيب. وعليكم السلام. Okay. طيب. Fa, it needs a bit more ba bite to it, and the fa's head needs to sit a bit higher. Where are we? طيب. Qaf, again, we just need to tighten it up a bit. See? Okay. What's this? Fa, yeah. Okay. No, we'll deal with that later. Kaf, that's fine. Kaf over here, we need to just add a bit more dal character to it. That's fine. طيب, okay. With meme in ruq'ah is going to be closed off. طيب. See, if you notice the reference that I gave you guys. Look at the reference. No, I don't think anyone needs it now. Yeah, I don't think we need it ever. I think everyone has. We'll keep it for later. See, the meme is going to be closed. Qaf is closed. Fa is closed. Waw is closed. Okay? In ruq'ah, anything that has an open eye, they call it. So all of these would be عيون يعني, eyes. Anything that has an open eye, you'll see that it's an open eye. If it's closed eye, it'll be closed eye. So see, even when I had to draw the large meme as a diagram, I blacked it out. Okay? Because it needs to be closed. Now the way it gets closed is not when I write it large and then I close it in. I color it in. No, because that's defeating the whole purpose. I'm trying to write quick. I'm not trying to color. Right? So when I write the meme itself, I need to write it small. And I need to write the meme itself small. Okay? That way I don't need to color it in. طيب noon, again the ka'sa, we start with one distinctive stroke here, and then down here. Is this the ha? You know, this is like the 3D printed stuff that always has like, it has the extra stuff that you just need to like sand off. Yeah. See? So we need to take that off. Okay? Wow, same thing. It needs to be closed. See? That's a wow. Yeah, again, very large. So see, if you naturally write larger, that's fine. But it still needs to be proportionate. It still needs to be proportionate. So this part in the middle, it's too big. The ya and ruq'ah, we don't have a huge middle part like this. You see, it's not proportionate, right? So if you're going to go with huge part over here, you need to have a huge rest of the ya. Okay? But you see how unreasonably large that becomes, right? That's why you make this slightly smaller and the rest of the body matches it.
So that top and bottom should be kind of
Okay.
same then,
Which one?
with the
No, they shouldn't be the same length, but they should be proportionate. So it shouldn't seem like one is larger than the other. As in like this is from a larger font letter and this is from a smaller font letter. No, they need to be proportionate. Okay? Just like this one. I think this is a reasonable size. Try it in Ruq'ah. It's also quite large. Inshallah, when we start practicing sentences, it'll start making much more sense. طيب, okay. Jim. Alif is good. We need to leave some space on the bottom. Ba, again, just slightly longer and with slightly more. It just needs to be a bit straighter. It's a bit too rounded here. طيب, dal is nice. Okay, so ra, do you see this top bit? It's too straight. We don't want to go 1, 2. No, we want to go 1, 2. So this is at an angle already. So we don't start from a straight, from a vertical line, then go sideways. No, we start from a sideways line and we go sideways. Okay? Seen? Okay, so I'm noticing one common problem with all of these longer scenes, which is that they're all really concave. We're going really concave on them. So they're going to have a slight curve within, but very slight. Okay? They're going to be very, very slight. طيب. Sad, same thing. Sad, actually it's a nice sad. However, ka'sa, the cup, we need to make the cup more prominent. طيب. Ain, again, it's going to take some practice. 1, 2, 3. This is going to be the ain that we need to practice. Fa, again, fa is one of those letters that just needs a little bit of a neck right here, right? Qaf, again, we said with qaf, we don't want to go extra with the flicks, right? Because then we end up with too much. Kaf, make a distinct alif, distinct ba, and a distinct loop back with the kaf. Lam, again, same thing with the ka'sa. Sorry, same thing with the ka'sa. It needs to be a bit tighter. Meme, this is a better meme. This is way too big. Wow, again, it needs to be closed off, and it's like a ra at the end. Ya, طيب. Okay, so with the ya, this is one common mistake also that we don't want to see is with the ya, yeah. That's fine, what's the time? Yeah, that's fine, inshallah. Okay, so with ya, we don't want to end up in a situation where the tail of the ya is going above it. See? It's becoming larger than it. It needs to be below. See? It always needs to be below. طيب. Qaf, okay, this qaf is better. All of these are actually better. But same thing with waw, it needs to be closed. Ra, same thing, it's standing up very vertical. Yeah, all of this looks okay. طيب. And in Ruq'ah we don't do 2 dots like this. We always connect. We don't do 3 dots like this. We always connect. طيب. That's one. طيب. Where do I start with this one? طيب. Okay, let's start with the Jim. So, once again, make every part distinct enough, okay? 1 is distinct. 2 is distinct. 3 is distinct. And then 4. Again, once you break this down, once you have control over it, it'll all start falling into place. You can't fluke this. You can't fluke your way through letters, okay? So that's very important. Sad, okay. So I'm noticing a common problem with sads as well is that once again, we're all going back to our nasakh sads. This is an amazing sad and nasakh, just like in the mushaf, but we're trying to focus on ruq'ah. So it's going to make it smaller. See? Smaller and with a smaller kasa. Okay? Ta and dha, they always go beyond their starting point. And this is also an important distinction to make. طيب. They always go past their starting point, whether they are in nasakh or they are in ruq'ah. So this is in nasakh and this is in ruq'ah. It's always going to go past the starting point. طيب. So we're never going to cut it short like this. طيب. Is this dal? Or I'm going to say this is dal. But it needs to be slightly straighter, slightly more angular. This is too rounded. طيب. Seen, the grooves are too deep. Grooves are a bit too deep. Ba, a bit too stapley. Okay, a bit more fluidity in that. طيب. The meme, again, we just need to stretch it out a bit here and then go down. So here's the stretching out bit, this bit. Yeah, we need to stretch it out a bit. Fa, again, just like all the others, fa, we need to close all of them. When we say we need to close, there's no white paper that you can see here. Wow, same thing. You need to close it out. There's no white paper that should be seen from the wow. طيب. Very nice hat. طيب. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Yeah, should be fine. Yeah, should be fine. طيب. Go on. Yeah, of course, inshallah. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. طيب. We'll end with this one, inshallah, before we take a break for salah. Alif, ba, again, we don't want it to be straight on the line. It needs to have fluidity. We need to have a fluid ba. Ha, again, same thing. Break it down to the distinctive bits and it will all start making sense. طيب. Dal, again, too sharp, too jagged. And ruq'ah is going to be a bit more flowy. Ra, Seen. Again, just to put a reference point. Where's the other scene? That's also very important for Ruq'ah. Scene. طيب. Ains, we have some good attempts on ains over here. Okay, so what's happening over here with these ains is that the body is usually not working out. So the head of the ain is somewhat working over here, but then the body, see, we just go down and back. Again, you know this whole 2/3 rule we've been talking about? Same thing, see? So you have 2/3 on top, and at some point it bumps into it, then 1/3. Okay? Fa, again, on top of the line, we never go below the baseline in Ruq'ah, these letters. Qaf, see, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. طيب, Kaf, once again, we just need to complete the Kaf. Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We need to complete the Kaf. Meme, actually this meme is good, but it's too angular, see? We went like this and then down. You can see the sharp angle here. We don't want a sharp angle. We want to flow downwards. Okay? Noon, we don't want to just have a V. We want to have a 2/3, 1/3 split. This is a 1.5, 1.5 split. That is okay. Wow, needs a bit of refinement. And ya, once again, look at the ya. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is the ya that we're going for. Okay? So this part of the ya is too shallow. This is too shallow. We need to give it a bit more depth if we want it to work for us. طيب. Okay, these are 3 samples from the ladies' side. Inshallah, we shall put that back. And after Salah, inshallah, we'll try to do some sentences. Maybe we'll do, like, for example, Surah Al-Fatiha, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, some of those sentences, inshallah. And this is probably going to have to become a weekly occurrence, where we have like half an hour session of correction, so you guys can practice at home, inshallah ta'ala. طيب, خلاص, we'll take a break, inshallah, for Salatul Maghrib. Barakallahu feekum wa jazakumullah khairan.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استقيموا وتراصوا. Make sure the lines are straight, please. Please turn off your mobile. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Bismillah. Something. Okay, خلاص. It is quite dark. It is quite dark. Or that one. Okay, there we go. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. طيب I felt a lot of trauma from a lot of you guys when going through this, and all of this is normal, it's natural, because you're essentially relearning how to write Arabic. Okay, so if you know how to write Arabic and you're doing it once again, you're essentially relearning how to do it. So it's totally normal to have, some, I don't know what can I say, adverse effects. Zakaria, fix it. خلاص بس. طيب. But once again, even if you know how to write a nasakh or semi-nasakh, it's very it's very important to develop the skill of learning to write with khat al-ruq'ah. Even if you don't write khat al-ruq'ah perfectly 100% the way ruq'ah is written, but you include elements of it in your writing, it's still going to be good. So if someone's still writing their scene with deep grooves, but the rest of their writing, has a lot of ruq'ah elements in them, their normal daily handwriting, is still going to be very beneficial, inshallah ta'ala. And when we start writing sentences, it's going to show, inshallah, it's going to showcase itself more and more. طيب. So for example, we're going to start, we said, with a basmala. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So once again, in nasakh, this would be a very long-winded process. You write every single tooth of the scene by itself. Then you have to write, the large scene of bism. Then you go alif, you go Allah. See? Then Ar-Rahman. And this too is again very, very rushed. Then of course you have to have a nice stretch of the noon as well. It has to be proportionate to the scene. It doesn't have to be as long as it, but it has to be proportionate to it. Then you have Ar-Rahim. Then again, same thing. You have to have a stretch for the meme over here. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for a basmala. Whereas in Ruq'ah, it's going to be a much simpler process. Because again, this is a practical khat. It's something that people just need to go through with. Bism, Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Okay? No tashkil, nothing. خلاص, that's it. Maybe Ar-Rahman, just small, many alif. تمام? So, once again, we're striving for some practicality. We're striving for some cleanliness over here. طيب. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, now we're going to write Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We'll write a few ayat of Fatiha. But once again, it's very important for us to just pay attention to how it was written. Then we can write it ourselves and then we can get it correct. Okay? So again, Alif, leaving a space. And then Lam, Ha, Mim, Dal. Alhamdu Lillahi Rabb. Alif again. A. Lamin. See? Then we'll have Ar-Rahman. Yarhamukallah. Ar-Rahim. See? Then we have Maliki Yawm Ad-Din. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. Let's do this. Inshallah, this should be fine. طيب. So a couple of things over here. Alhamdu, the lam ha. See, we just go lam, and then the ha just goes like this. And the mim, as if we're starting it. And then you go slightly higher, and that is your dal. طيب, إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. All this should be clear. Tamam? I feel like all this is quite self-explanatory. So, yalla bismillah. Let's start with this and let's see what we can do, inshallah. Any questions on this, by the way? Before we move on. Alhamdu. Okay, see. So we write the lam. And then, you remember the ha? We had 1, 2, and 3. See this 2 part? That's it here. So, lam. Okay. Where's the? Oh, the alif is right here. Alif. Alhamdu. Okay. يلا بسم الله. Go on, what are we looking at?
I'm just
Which one?
Can you do the alhamd again? Because I'm not sure he did it in like a singular flow.
What does singular flow mean?
As in, do you have to take off the like
The pen.
yes?
Yes, you don't have to take off the pen, but the more you take off the pen, the better, because you need to give yourself time. So, alhamdu. I'm sure you can write it in one singular flow. But again, just if you write lam, then you write ha, mim, then you write dal. You know, you just give yourself more control. That's all.
When you're joining the ayn is quite different, right?
Yeah, when you're joining ayn is completely different. So ayn actually just becomes, see, like if I were to write it really large, ayn just becomes 1, 2, 3. This is al-alamin.
So it's going to be quite circular.
Circular, but you know, it still has a bit of an angle to it, see? It still has a bit of an angle to it. This is how you'd write al-alamin.
And if that was going to be a fa or a ha,
So if it were a fa, then it would be circular. See? So then it would be see? So now it's circular. And more importantly, this is dark. This is open.
is it going to be dark because it's tight?
Yeah, because it's so tight that it's closed. So it's completely dark. But this, a fa or a qaf, would be open. Okay? That's the difference.
You can see in Ruq'ah sometimes people they, sorry, not in Ruq'ah, in Nasr, they cut in the ayn.
Yeah, the ayn should be colored.
In Nasr,
Yeah, in Naskh as well.
I thought in Nasr it's more like bit, the corners of,
Okay, in Naskh, an accurate Naskh would be like this. So it's going to be like in the Mus'haf. If you look in the Mus'haf, it's going to be like this. Thuluth? Thuluth is another font. It's the bigger brother of Nasakh. I'll show you inshallah. But even in Nasakh, Ayn is always closed inside. And even in Nasakh, a Fa is always going to be open. Fa, Qaf, this would be in Nasakh, this would be open. It wouldn't be closed. It wouldn't be closed. So Ayn is always going to be dark. Okay? If anyone's finished their Fatiha, we can start correcting. Again, take your time. There's no hurry. Today is just an introduction. Yeah. Finished? طيب, are we done? Okay, can I have one person's paper? Let me see what we're doing. Okay. طيب. Okay. So, what are we dealing with over here? طيب. So, Bismillah. Again, the scene. We want to give it time. We want to let it land. The mean, we want to give it time and we want to let it land. This is our baseline, right? Allah, we said the alif in Ruq'ah, it's a short alif. Okay? So, we don't make it taller than necessary. Again, always in any sort of writing, if everything is proportionate, it will look nice. If everything is proportionate, it will look nice. Okay? Ar-Rahman, again, and everything should rest on a baseline. This is what I said. If you have a baseline and everything is resting on it, it will look nice. But see, for example, over here, said, man, where's our baseline? Let's say I draw a baseline here, right? See, your baseline is cutting through your Allah, it's cutting through Ar-Rahman, it's going on top of Ar-Rahman. See? So this is our baseline. See, where's our baseline? So taking care of the baseline is very important. Once your baseline is taken care of, like 80% of your handwriting is going to be fixed. 80% of your handwriting is going to be fixed once you have figured out your baseline. Okay? So the baseline is very, very important. Same thing with over here. See? Al-Alameen. We said the baseline is underneath the noon, not on top of the noon. طيب. مالك يوم الدين. No, not إياك نستعين. إياك نعبد. وإياك نستعين. We miss both of those. Okay? Yeah. Now listen. Okay, so we need to focus on our baseline. Alhamdulillah. See, we need to focus on the baseline. See, look how the baseline is consistent. That's what makes it all tidy. Does it go below the baseline? Is it going below the baseline? No, it doesn't go below the baseline.
What about the
The meme does. We said there's 3 letters that go below the baseline. The jim, meme, and ayn. And the ha when it's connected. طيب. So if we fix the baseline, Bismillah. طيب. If we fix the bit of the baseline, do you guys want to finish? We'll finish the surah, and then we'll just do corrections on the entire surah. Yeah, especially on the baseline, because I think if that's something that we have fixed and proportionality, then we fixed up, inshallah, a lot of it. طيب, okay, you can put your pens down and just give me a slight bit of attention on this. طيب. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. And then over here we have ihdina. Alif. And then look at the ha. The ha in Ruq'ah is, again, very distinctive. Ihdina. Alif, again. As-sirata. Al-mustaqim. Now see how the alif, because I have a long scene, see how the alif fits underneath here. So if the alif was beside al-mustaqim up here, just like this, what's going to happen is you're going to have a huge white space here where there's nothing. So your alif, you tuck it in there, it fits perfectly fine. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Number 5. We're doing some warshad. طيب. صراط الذين again الذين. Look how everything is bouncing on the baseline. Now look at أنعمت. نون عين ميم تاء. صراط الذين أنعمت. Now look at the عين. Right? And then عليهم. Now here I have 2 letters that go under the line. The ya and the ha. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير. Okay, now this, see, this is a mistake. Why? What's happening here? طيب. So غيري over here, what happened is that now it's floating. It's not on the baseline. Do you see? It's not on the baseline. Look under the ra. It's not on the baseline. So I need to write it again. غيري, there. It has to hit the baseline. غير المغضوب. Again on the baseline. عليهم. Baseline. واو لام ألف ولا الضالين. See? Everything bounces on the baseline. Okay, now let's correct our counts. 4, 5, 6, and 7 المثاني. Yep. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. And we can add a shadda over here because This is a mad lazim, kalimi, مثقل. So we need to emphasize it. طيب, يلا بسم الله. Go on. I'll give you guys inshallah like 5 minutes, and then we'll start correcting, okay? Because we need to correct before it's time for Salat al-Isha. Once again, before you guys start, do you guys have any questions? Do you want to repeat anything? Do you want me to show you something once again? Go on. Hmm?